Hey everyone, welcome back to another live Q&A with yours truly, Sam Healy. Today, I am going to ask you guys a couple questions and gals, but you feel free to ask me questions along with it. We're going to have a little bit of a back and forth here. That's why I called it a live Q&A / town hall meeting, just because it's going to be not just you asking me questions. I want to get your input as well. So get your fingers nice and limber for the chat windows, and we will go from there. Now, I want to welcome all of you guys that are watching and gals that are watching from Twitch. We're starting to do that a little bit more frequently from here on out. So we're still, going through some growing pains over there. So we're not going to be taking a whole lot of questions from that chat session, although I do have a window open here, and I'll be bouncing in there every once in a while. If I see something that catches my eye, well, then I'll go ahead and get that question in on it as well. But again, like I said, we're still going through some growing pains with Twitch, so apologize for that, but we hope to get better. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and go to the let's see here. Let's go to the actual questions that I have for you guys. We'll let you guys stew on that for a little bit, and while I answer some of your questions and so forth. But the two questions that I had, we're starting to do more playthroughs on the Dice Towers channel. So I wanted to get your input on a couple of different avenues on that front. First of all, what is the value of a live or a recorded playthrough in your opinion? What are you looking to get out of a live playthrough or a pre-recorded playthrough that we've edited and then put up? And then second of all, would you rather see more live playthroughs, or would you rather see more of the pre-recorded playthroughs that we go back through and edit and catch some of the different rules, mistakes that we made, and that kind of stuff? So that's the two questions that I want you guys to answer. But without any further ado, while you guys stew on that, I'll go ahead and start getting to some of the questions that are in the chat. Now, I do see that Nathan here kind of jumped the gun, which is okay sometimes, and he already answered the questions. So let me go ahead and read what Nathan says, and maybe that will jumpstart the conversation a little bit. So Nathan says this: as someone who is new to the hobby, brand new, as in, quote, didn't know the term Eurogame existed before 4 weeks ago new, I think live and pre-recorded playthroughs are so helpful. They help him to both learn new games and types of mechanisms, as well as to figure out what do I want to spend my money on. For me, the types of playthroughs serve different purposes. Live playthroughs are for entertainment, and then the pre-recorded reviews are more educational. All right, so that's Nathan's input, and I do appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. It does make sense. That's kind of a response that I was kind of expecting, because the pre-recorded ones can be a little bit more academic as far as getting the rules right. We can stop and go check a rule, and rather than having to look it up on the fly, and that doesn't make for very good entertainment. However, the live playthroughs, it's very off the cuff, or at least some of the situations that we get into are very off the cuff, and there's those spur of the moment type conversations and phrases that are said, and that type of stuff. So I get that, and I do agree that those pre-recorded sessions can be somewhat more academic and educational, maybe not as entertainment filled, but it might be a good balance to strike there, because just because something is educational doesn't mean it shouldn't also be entertaining. So that is cool. Adam Singer says, I always have the best music. Thank you. Actually, thank Epidemic Sound, the website. That's where we get our music from, and it's all royalty free. So that's very cool. But yeah, I like music, and I'm glad you like the kind of music that I like. Jack Dempsey, good to see you. Good to see you too. Let's see here. Star Wars Legion or Star Wars Imperial Assault. You know, I haven't really made that determination yet. I don't think I've played a Star Wars Legion enough to categorically say that I prefer one over the other. I think probably Imperial Assault has a little bit, or eventually rather, will have a stronger fan base just because it has a little bit more of a wider appeal to the board game hobby, and it also has a little bit more of an appeal to the miniature game hobby. So whereas I think Star Wars Legion, it's definitely catering to just one side, with the hopes being that some of the board game fans will come in because of the IP. So I don't know, we'll see. But to answer your question, I can't really say just yet. There's no video feed in Twitch. Let me go check that. Yes, there is. That must have been, you must have made that statement before Kenny fixed it. Kenny was in here kind of backing everything up. Dropping frames, he says. Autobox Online. Okay, I don't know exactly what's going on our Twitch. Twitch works better with lower resolution. 720 seems to not have so many problems. Okay, well, thank you for that stuff in there. So like I said, I'll be bopping back and forth between the two, and we'll see how that goes. Let's see here. Let's see here. Joseph Arnold says that he prefers the pre-recorded ones to live playthroughs. Melissa says, I like any playthrough, but I like better to see the board clearly so I can just see how a game is played. And that's something we've been working on as well, getting better board shots, or kind of contextual shots when we're doing something on the board. Kenny has been doing the off-camera work on some of that, and Derek as well. We've been working, trying to make step forwards with that, so we do hear that. Could you play my game now? Kenny, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know what your game is. Let's see here. Adam Singer says, it's sometimes hard to tell if you're having fun because you enjoy playing together, or are you enjoying it because the game is fun? Perhaps more commentary on the game would make playthroughs more valuable. I get that. I can understand that. The thing with that, though, is that, for example, and I don't know how much we're going to be doing this in the future, but for example, the Batman playthrough that we've just did, the new game from Monolith, it's on Kickstarter right now. That was a paid playthrough, and we went into it just playing the game, and we tried to take pain to not give a verdict either one way or another during that playthrough, and because of what it was a paid playthrough. It wasn't a preview, it wasn't a review, it wasn't any of that stuff. It was just a paid play of the game. So we tried to make sure that we didn't do any of that on the actual game. We just kind of gave a representation of what the game is, how the game plays, and let you make those determinations. And sometimes I think that's what a live playthrough and a pre-recorded playthrough is supposed to be doing. It's not really supposed to be saying this game is fun. It's more, this is how the game plays. And if we have fun with, I mean, we can't not have fun with each other during a playthrough. That would just be boring as all get out to watch. If we're just kind of sitting here going through the motions of playing the game with no commentary, no nothing, no reactions or anything like that, that would be kind of very blasé to watch. But I understand what you're saying, because there are some times when I really enjoy the experience of playing the game, but when I come down and start dissecting games at a mechanical level, so to speak, it becomes not, I become not as enamored with it as I was with the experience. And that's one of the things that we kind of have to I guess we need to, if we don't already do it, mention that more in our review of the game. You know, I enjoyed the experience, but I think it was just the people playing the game more than it was the game. You know, those kinds of statements should be said in reviews, if that's true. It could be that it wasn't. But I appreciate your input, and I understand what you're saying. John Wilder says, I like to see live playthroughs to get a better sense of whether or not I will like the game. Part of that is how the players act during the game, silence or jokes. Yes, and I can understand that as well, because if it is a game, for example, Codenames is one of those games that I've watched people play, and maybe because I've heard both sides, both extremes, but many of the times that I've watched Codenames being played, it was a very cerebral, very quiet, very thinky kind of experience, and that's just not what I'm all about. And it's one of the reasons why I just don't like Codenames that much. Now, I like Codename Pictures the best out of that series. But even then, that's not one of my automatic go-tos unless I'm in a specific kind of situation where, like, there's multiple languages and some people aren't able to handle the English as well as some other people. So in that case, I'll pull out Codenames Pictures because it's less language dependent. But hey, Chris, big fan. Thank you. Appreciate you showing up, buddy. I appreciate it. Knowledge of a game, quality, both. Okay, I don't know where that fits into this segment. Maybe, Sean, if you can come back and further clarify what you're talking about there. Knowledge of game, quality, both. Played Kingsburg with you last year for the first time during MeepleCon. You and the three guys killed me. Had a blast though. Okay, well, I'm sorry about that, Michael, but I'm glad you enjoyed the game. Kingsburg is a great game to play. Randall says, I feel that the playthrough videos give a better feel for how a game plays. I think an edited version is better so that any rules errors could be addressed, and that's true. That's kind of mirroring everything that has already been said, and that is a definite truth. That the recorded playthroughs can be a little bit more educational and academic. Let's see here. Playthroughs are great for games you're on the fence about buying and great to learn rules. That said, pre-recorded, edited playthroughs make that much easier and shorter. However, a weekly live play would be awesome. Dice Tower game night. Yeah, well, I am trying to do that. Tom has given us a little bit more freedom in that way. He's not going to be involved in all of them, but Z and I will be involved in more of them, kind of making them a little bit more, not prevalent, but a little bit more frequent. Mr. Spadini says he prefers edited. Edited, please. I would love to see playthroughs that don't require hours to watch, just so we can see what a game really plays like. Well, that's determined more, I would think, by the kind of game we're playing. We're probably not going to do a whole lot of games that are multiple hour games. We're probably going to stick to more, hour and a half style of games. But that's not to say that we won't get some of those longer games in there. We'll see, though. Another person says, I like either. Playthrough of Kickstarter games with honest opinion is awesome. Okay. A good overhead view and pre-recorded how to play the game is what another person said that they would like. And the reason I say another person is because it's Lord Jav 130 Javi. Lord Javi 131. I don't know how to pronounce that, which is why I probably shouldn't have tried to pronounce it. But anyway, let's see. Love the live playthroughs. I like seeing games in action. Helps me to decide if my daughter and I will enjoy them. Also, I get to see games I will never own, but am interested in. Katie Walker says that. Let's see. Are we going to do a top 10 races for the new TI4? That's a good game. That's a good idea. End game. I got the user's name in there. So that's a good idea. I might do that. I did one for TI3, but we'll see. We'll see. Ba-boom. Marshall says playthroughs are valuable and helps cut through hype. This is very true. It just lays everything out for you bare bones and allows you to come to your own evaluation with no hype in it at all. And that I agree with that 100%. Secondly, he says, I like either style, but a shortened, slightly edited video helps me get around to watching sooner, since I usually watch the live vids after. Okay, I like that. I don't know if, see, we usually don't edit a whole lot of content out of the game because we don't want to jump around and maybe miss something that you were hoping to see. We usually the editing is just splicing it through and cutting out the times where we were looking up rules or trying to interpret rules or something to that effect. So I don't know that they will be terribly shorter, but they would be shorter because we're not spending 2, 3, 4 minutes looking up a rule and trying to interpret it while you're just sitting there watching us do that. So that's good. Let's see here. Everything is fine with me and mine. Charles Leonard, thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see. Initial impressions on GKR. Realize that was only I've only played it once. So I guess my initial impressions with it is that I like it, and I like the dual victory aspect of it, where you can either just try to knock your other person's heavy hitter out, or work on tagging the buildings a little bit more. I also like the card play and building your deck and choosing what kind of deck you're going to build by choosing the kinds of weapons you're going to use and all of that different kind of stuff. You can go more heavily defensive or more heavily offensive. There's a lot of cool things as far as the deck building aspect that's in it. So I did enjoy that a lot. I like the way it looks on the board is amazing. It's an amazingly produced game. So there's a lot of cool stuff in it. As far as a final verdict, I'm definitely going to wait until I play it at least one other time, if not a couple other times, just so that I can wrap my head around it a little bit better. But initial impression was good. Brandon says, I feel pre-recorded playthroughs, but only when you're playing with very few and small mistakes. I watch playthroughs to see how the game is played, in parentheses, correctly. So yeah, that is something that we've also been trying to work on as well. But at the same time, and I put it at the front of every single live play intro that we do, we are human, and we make mistakes. We are not, perfect or anything like that, or even anywhere close to that. Furthermore, we collectively have so many different rules banging around in our heads after having played so many different games. And I'm not saying that anybody else out there is different, but it's really easy for us to say, yeah, that's right, that sounds right, and we're like totally thinking about another game that we just played, but we don't realize that. So there's yeah, give us a little bit of a break. We are trying to get better, but just, cut us a little bit of slack, because we are trying. It's not like we're just saying, hey, let's just play this, and if we get it right, we get it right. If we don't, we don't. We're definitely not doing that. We definitely try to do the best that we can on those things. Greetings from Germany. Hello, Andre. Greetings. Let's see. I'd like to see more engagement with the audience during live playthroughs. Huh. Okay, I can possibly see that. Maybe have like questions and have us answer the questions and those types of things. Maybe. I don't know if that would be a good idea in the long run, because that might just kind of elongate the playthrough more than anything else. And so maybe if we did more, maybe if we went back and edited the live playthroughs that we do and edit that stuff out for other people that are going to watch it after it's been live. But having a live playthrough that just is up there, and I don't know, that would be a question for somebody else, really. Let's see here. Greetings from Romania, Geek Item. Hello, Romania. Cool. International audience. Very cool. Mark Street is in the house. Hello, Mark. Let's see here. Pre-recorded is shorter. Mistakes can be caught, and I can learn from the game better, but I like it when the jokes and natural reactions are left in to show whether you guys are actually enjoying the game. Okay, yeah, that's true, Joseph, but it also goes back to what another user already said, that they have sometimes a hard time denoting whether or not we are enjoying the game or the experience that we're having with each other with the game. So that would be something that's a little bit different, yeah. Let's see here. Sometimes, Jack Dempsey says, I'm searching for a live playthrough to live vicariously through folks I enjoy watching when my gaming group can't get together. That's also another benefit, I guess. Let's see here. Oh, here's a good question. Gustavo says, do you mind if people playing the game start talking about things not related to the game, like politics? What do you do in that situation? Well, I guess it really depends on if that conversation is derailing the game. Some games are really long, and if you interject a conversation that really has nothing to do with the game in the middle of that really long game, then that really long game became really, really long, and it's probably not as fun either. But if it's a natural conversation that comes out of playing the game and it's an interesting topic, yeah, I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But at the same time, I think you need to be sensitive to those that are around, the other people that are playing the game that really couldn't care less about that conversation, and they're just kind of sitting on their butts waiting for you to finish your conversation with somebody else so that everybody can get back to playing the game. You need to be sensitive to that kind of situation. Benjamin, is your youth group Christian? Yes, it is. Twitch throat punch emoticon or riot? Well, please don't riot, Oliver. We'll look at doing that in the near future. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on the Shut Up and Sit Down review of the Batman Gotham City Chronicles? I have not watched that review, so I can't comment on it. I apologize. Tom said yesterday, since Twitch has lower delay, it might be interesting for live plays, especially he can interact better with chat. Well, there you have it. If there's less of a delay, then yes, it would make interacting with chat better and easier. So there you go. Ambrose says, I like seeing live mistakes on the rules and then having the expert Peanut Gallery correct you. Well, I'm glad you enjoy that. I feel like if I am new to the game, I might make a similar mistake, so I am now attuned to it. Okay, yeah, that is true. And that's one of the things about it, is that if we make mistakes, I guess you could say that the probability of other people making the same mistake is there. Let's see. YouTube is smooth as silk. All right. I guess Twitch is not. All right. Got people saying hi. Yo, hi, yo. Still dropping frames. Stop and go. Derek pops in there. Hopefully the stream should be smoother now. Okay. So if you've been, go back to Twitch and see how it's working. Go and we'll see how that goes. All right. Let's see here. Okay, Charles says, regarding playthroughs, overall live is better than pre-recorded. However, both serve a purpose and are enjoyable to watch. Rules, paid perspective. Best as pre-recorded. Best entertainment comes from live. Okay, that's valid. Twitch is less congested compared to YouTube. Great outlet for gamers in general. Okay. Well, again, we are trying to kind of expand into Twitch. It's just something new. Watching a bunch of Dice Tower contributors and you playing Deception Murder in Hong Kong convinced me to buy the game. Turn order soon goes out the window. Yes. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever really stuck to turn order, and that unless, you know, as a reminder in one of the rounds, hey, look, this is what we should be doing now, and that type of thing. But yeah, turn order just kind of goes out the window. Dan Lutch says, Rising Sun versus Lords of Hellas. You can only keep one in your collection. Which would you choose? Well, that would be very simple because I have Lords of Hellas and I do not own Rising Sun. So that answers your question for you. Let's see. At this point, I like live better. Mitt Herman says, I'm still figuring out what I like and don't like, and it's much easier to get the flavor, quote unquote, of a game by an off-the-cuff video rather than a more scripted playthrough. Okay, well, I'm glad you used that terminology because I want to make sure it's clear. We don't actually script anything, I think. The Dice Tower, we are largely unscripted. I don't think we've ever scripted anything, honestly. I remember typing when I was the co-host of the Dice Tower podcast. I remember typing out some of my top 10 lists and being very scripted there. But that only lasted for a little while because you could definitely tell I was reading something, and I didn't like that, and I don't think anybody else liked it either. So, How many times do you play through a game before you make a definite judgment? I find a lot of comments on BGG are based on one game. Well, you know, it really depends upon the game. In particular, some games, for example, for myself, I already have a judgment after one game, and that's, I guess you could call it more of an initial impression than anything else. But I can usually tell off of one play whether or not I'm going to like it, or whether or not I like it at all. I can usually see things that I like about it. Now, there are sometimes games that are, you know, just the bigger ones usually, that I have to play it at least one other time, if not two other times after that initial time, just so that I can wrap my head around everything. But yeah, it just depends on the game. We play so many different things, and it gets a little bit easier as time goes on to make those judgments that we think that will last. Let's see here. The topic, I see Ivan here asking, the topic of our discussion today is largely live plays and pre-recorded playthroughs. Which is better? What are the pros for one? What are the cons for the other? That type of stuff. We're not really sticking closely to that. It's just that's kind of the overarching topic that we're talking about here. But Phil, if you have questions that are not related to that topic, then yeah, go ahead and ask. I don't mind at all. Let's see here. Do you like the Unlock or Exit series better? I don't. I shy away from those kinds of games because I'm not a huge puzzly kind of person. Time Stories is about as far down that path as I really want to go. I do like going to escape rooms, but again, it's not because I enjoy the puzzles. I like the camaraderie and the experience of going with a group of people and trying to work with them through that. And largely those Exit and Unlock board games, they're trying to replicate that experience, and I don't feel it. I don't feel it. It's just more of a, feels like a worksheet that you would be given when you were in high school in like math class. That's what those games feel like to me. Because you've done your assignment or you finished your test like a half hour before everybody else does, and the teacher just doesn't want you to sit there and do nothing for the rest of the class, so they give you this worksheet of like brain-busting problems, and they say, here, do this, and you'll get extra credit for it or something like that. That's not fun to me. I do enjoy the experience, but I don't go out and seek those. So I haven't actually even played any of the Unlock ones, and I've played one of the Exit ones. So yeah, sorry. Do you have any idea why our hobby seems to be much more popular among liberals than conservatives and libertarians? I don't know that it is. I think that's an assumption that you might be making based upon your microcosm of the hobby. I just think that's a misnomer. I don't think it appeals more to one group of people than another. I think it truly can bring a lot of different people from a large and wide spectrum of different paths of life and bring them to one table. And I think that's one of the cool things about our hobby. Sam. Okay, so Vernon, the Zombification 007, that's Vernon Piper, for all of you guys out there wondering. He probably would tell you that, but I always feel like he's trying to be a spy, that 007 thing. I want to chat along, but the network is congested and keeps skipping for me. Looking forward to Thursday. It should be painted by then. Okay, cool. That's good. By the way, Vernon, you don't have to paint every single game we play live. It just doesn't have to happen, so don't kill yourself. But cool if you can get it done. I know Vernon loves painting. He will go home from work and just spend the rest of the night painting, and that's cool. All right, Kabuki asks, hello Kabuki, have you or would you try Xayah again with the expansion? I'm always open to playing a game again. Well, I shouldn't use the word always. I'm usually open to playing a game again, and I would give it a try. I just don't know if the things that I dislike about Xayah will be overcome by an expansion or by a second play of it. So there you go. But yes, to answer your question, I would be willing to try it again. Let's see. Are you guys interested in Who Goes There? The Thing game coming out this summer. I actually haven't heard about that one. But Daniel Cheston says that he is. So you've got a friend in Daniel. If I'm looking to learn how to play the game, I prefer pre-recorded, but for enjoyment and seeing how different people approach each game, live is much better. Okay. That is true. And again, I think that we're mirroring each other a lot in these different sentiments, because a lot of people see that. And I guess what I was trying to go through here is, I'm rereading the questions as I wrote them. Yeah, that second question hasn't really been answered by a lot of people. Who would you rather see, more live playthroughs or more recorded, edited playthroughs? That would be a pretty cool thing that you guys could answer here. Can you buy Seventh Continent anywhere? Don't know. Haven't looked. Let's see here. Andre says he prefers live playthroughs. He enjoys seeing you and the other guys make mistakes. Thanks, maybe. Would you ever do a top 10 games of the best table presents? And what I mean is, are games that if you were walking by, you would stop and take a look just from the looks. That'd be like a top 10 production quality or something like that. Top 10 aesthetic games. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I miss your Time Story playthroughs or games like that. Yeah, Lewis, we did play Estrella Drive, but because it was like marked on the box that this was a for mature audiences only, we didn't want to play that one live because we didn't know exactly what that sticker meant. So that's why we didn't do that with Estrella Drive, and unfortunately, Estrella Drive has really cooled both Z and Tom on Time Story, so I don't know how that's going to happen in the future. So we'll see. Mark Street says, Xayah remains my top 5 games. So good. Who cares, Mark? But again, Kabuki's with you, so you've got a friend in Kabuki. Let's see. Still haven't gotten Xayah to the table. I'm terrible. Okay. There's nothing wrong with not getting a thing to the table. That's some nice ice cream. Is that your ice cream? That's some nice ice cream. $10 from Camp Counselor Steve. Thank you. Thank you, Camp Counselor Steve. I don't know that we'll spend that on ice cream, but you'll have to talk to Tom about that. Are you going to continue with Legacy of Dragonholt? That I don't know about either. We'll have to see. I do know that, and this is probably maybe a good idea if you like doing solo games. I'm uploading. I'm going to be. I uploaded tomorrow's episode of Throat Punch Lunch, and in that, Liz Davidson, our solo Thrasher segment contributor, talked about Legacy of Dragonholt. So you can go check that out. But it is. I enjoy doing it, but I think the other two guys don't enjoy it as much. So we try to do live plays that everybody's going to enjoy. So I don't know if we're going to go back to it or not. Let's see. Melissa says, I think someone answering questions would be helpful. As long as they stay on game topic questions, you could have an admin in the stream to answer so it does not take up game time. Yeah, that's true. We usually do have admins, and Kabuki is one of them that does that already. You know, they kind of are just making sure everybody behaves more often than not. But that could be something that they try to do. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with the idea of us interacting with the chat room. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We just have to get better. Let's see. Matt Powell says, hey, Sam, thanks for introducing me to Blood Rage at PAX. It's in my collection now as one of my game group's new favorite games. Looking forward to this year's PAX. Yeah. Well, I enjoy that game as well. So I always enjoy Blood Rage. But I'm glad that you enjoy it that much, and I'm glad your group does too. That's very cool. Love the live painting session that you and Vernon did, working up the courage to try painting to my Shadespire warbands. All right, Katie, go for it. Again, just take your time, be patient, and make them look the way you want them to make them look. Don't feel like you have to have an art degree in order to paint miniatures, because I certainly do not. Let's see here. Let's pop over to Twitch real quick. Let's see. A lot of this. Not seeing a whole bunch. Let's see. Yeah, they haven't put any delay to this. Caster can set it if they want. Definitely looks sharper. Wish there were more persistent chat here. Okay. Look at that giant. Yeah, it is a giant mouse pad. Sorry. I got this out of a loot crate. As a matter of fact, it says right there. I don't even know what game that's for, but it's just, I love the size of it. But let's see. I'm just touching on some of these things. Mostly snappy notices. All right. So that's cool. Twitch is only showing original resolution. Got a trick. Somebody does. Chatting on Twitch, listening on YouTube. Okay, cool. All right. Well, I'm going to pop back over to YouTube. That's where most of our things are coming on. But like I said, I'm going to be double checking that every once in a while. Favorite game of 2018 so far? Wow, man, it's just March, man. 2018. I don't know. I haven't really put that much thought. We usually don't start thinking about that until later on in the year. You know, we make notes right now, but man, I have no idea. I have no idea. What kind of, oh, that's a good question. What kind of videos do you like making the best? I'm definitely a fan of the top 10s and summary videos, weekend review, etc. Well, the top 10s are the most fun to make. They are also the most editing intensive, though. So, and Z and I kind of share responsibility on editing those. It'll bounce back and forth between us a little bit. So, those are the most fun to make, though. I think those are the ones we have the most fun with. But I think next in line probably would be the live playthroughs, whether they're edited or not. Those are the most fun to make. I also really enjoy doing the live Q&As. Reviews are the most work-intensive ones, and hence, in my opinion, the least fun to do. But it's kind of what we're here for. So it's a necessary evil. Can we call it that? Yeah. Let's see here. Even Ristov says, my recommendation is never play games with people who talk about politics. In fact, I try to avoid them altogether. Oh, well, that's not very cool. And I apologize. I don't mean to call you out that way. But, yeah, that's kind of closed-minded because, I mean, sure, I mean, people are going to talk about stuff. I mean, do you get up and walk away from the table if they do that? I mean, if they ask a political question in the middle of a game that you're playing, do you stop the game and walk away from them and avoid them? Because that's the long walk off a short pier of what you've said here. And I don't know if that's not the kind of stuff that we have to. There's a certain level of understanding and tolerance that we have to go into this hobby with. You're not going to always play games with people that you agree with 100% on everything. And so, I don't know. Yeah, I really don't mean to be, pushing that button, Ivan, but I just don't agree with that sentiment. I understand what you're saying, but I think that's something that's a tendency you should try to fight against rather than embrace. Let's see here. Twitch is the worst about donations. Like telethon back in the day. The worst. I have no idea what you're talking about, Jared, but there you go. What is the Dice Tower Twitch channel name? I believe it is the Dice Tower. It's twitch.com/the Dice Tower. I think that's what it's called. I could have told you wrong, though, so don't quote me on that. The Dice Tower is channel name. Yeah, you already said that. Lori Heitenen says, I like both live and edited. The value for me is that I can't get many game sessions currently due to my life situation, and I can sort of quote-unquote play with you. That's good. That's a cool thing. And that's one of the reasons why I think so many people like that, because they can kind of feel like they're part of the experience. Humorless Parody says, what famous IP do you want to see a game about? Well, I said this at PAX, at our top 10 at PAX Unplugged in Philly this past year, and I would like to see a Hellboy game that uses the Tannhäuser mechanisms and that kind of game. Maybe it's more scenario based though, instead of like capture the flag and all that kind of stuff. More scenario based, where Hellboy and his team of heroes go into and they have to accomplish whatever goal it is to win the scenario. I'd like to see that done. I know there have been other Hellboy games out there, not a whole lot of them though. That I know of, at least. But that would be a cool thing that I would like to see, I think. Are those aquarium models behind you on the shelf? No, actually, those are just 3 representations of some 3D terrain sets that we've been sent by a company called GameMat.eu. They're based out of Prague, and I just did an unboxing of them, of all the stuff that they sent. That's going to be going up next week, and I just thought it would be cool to kind of show them off. That's just one from 3 different sets. This is the Badlands set, I think it's called, or no, the Desert Rocks set. This is called the Highland set, and that's the Gothic Ruins set. So it's just stuff that I'm really pumped about having, because we're going to be starting to do more live plays, and with Vernon being around and being a little bit, pretty flexible about coming down and playing games. Hopefully, we're going to be getting some more miniatures games to the table. So what happened was, I'll just go ahead and explain this now. Matus, the guy that owns GameMat, saw our Star Wars Legion playthrough. How we were doing a land battle on an X-Wing playmat. And so we're kind of all hovering up around the Death Star and orbiting the Death Star, but it's just a bunch of ground troops. So he saw that. He's like, you know what? We might be able to help you out so that you don't have to do that anymore. Because we're not tried and true miniatures gamers, and so we don't have all of this other stuff. Like I watched the Beasts of War live playthrough of Star Wars Legion, and I was like drooling the entire time because they had such cool terrain, they had such a cool setup, and then their walls were filled with stuff, and so I was rather envious at that point. But yeah, GameMat said, hey, we can probably help you out. We just, you know, we talked about what we could do for them and all this kind of stuff, and they sent us a whole mess of stuff. So you'll be seeing it throughout the future, in the coming weeks and so forth. So no, they are not aquarium models, but while I was unboxing them, and then I would stop at the end of everything to kind of clean up the area and bring everything out and store it. That's one of the things Z said and Derek. So you are not incorrect, but the stuff looks really good on the table. So let's see. Mark says he scripts things off and on, mostly when I have a thematic story to convey about the game I'm talking about. He does do that, and he does a good job. I'm just not good at it. So Sam, did you notice, Kabuki Kid, that the new Deception Murder Hong Kong roll cards have different colored backs than the original cards? They don't mix well without sleeves. Yes, and I will say that the guys at Gray Fox are already aware of this. They have contacted me about it to check the copy that I had, and they had me take pictures and work with them and about this and that, and so they are trying to resolve that in a way, at least I believe, knowing them, that they're going to try to resolve that in a way that will be conducive to everyone involved. So hopefully you'll get that fixed. That's just an unfortunate thing. It's really hard when you have second printings of games like that to get all of the ink to match exactly to the ones that are used. So it's just a hard thing to do. But yes, I did notice that. I didn't mention it in my review because at that point I hadn't noticed it. The Undercover Ally set that I got came with the new roll cards that have a different back on them, and it's a complete set of them, and those are the ones that I had used. I had not tried to intersperse the old and the new together, so I didn't notice right off the bat with my copy because of the review copy that was given to us. So yeah, I apologize. When was the last time you saw Tom being really angry during a game? Yesterday. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. Really mad? Like fighting mad? It's been a long time. But I don't know. I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. I don't keep track of that kind of stuff, rather. Let's see here. What is your favorite game that can be easily tossed in a bag in case of random gaming opportunities? Wow. Age of War is one of them. The little dice game from Fantasy Flight. That's one that I've tossed in a bag. For Sale is another one that I've tossed in a bag in that kind of situation before. No Thanks has been another one that I did that with. So yeah, those are three. Three's good. Kabuki Kid says, Gray Fox said they are looking into fixes. See, I told you. See. Trevor says, more live playthroughs. Yes, sir. I prefer live playthrough over pre-recorded as there is less lag time and more current. Okay, yeah, it takes a little bit of time to get that out. get the pre-recorded ones out there. We have to edit it and go through it, and it has to be exported. Sometimes it has to be transcoded from our live stream machine over to, so that it can be read by the Macs. So yeah, there is some more downtime, so to speak. Let's go back over to Twitch for a little bit. Let's see. Haven't played any giant space games except for Firefly. I really enjoyed it, and even though it's mostly just a pick up and deliver. It is just mostly a pick up and deliver, Board Games with Panda, and but that's kind of, that fits that theme, and that's one of the things I think is coolest about Firefly is the fact that it does have that theme to it, and it's a pretty cool immersive theme, but it also fits the mechanisms of the game. That's cool. Let's see here. I have the same Playmat Sam board. Oh, okay. It's Borderlands 2. Is that what that is? Okay. Cool. Let's see here. Frolic838 over on Twitch says, as for the topic, I enjoy live plays. They are fun to listen to in the background while I do other things. I tend to focus more on the taped plays for some reason. Okay, so he enjoys the live plays for background type things, but he focuses more on the taped plays, so that he can, I guess, so that he or she rather can learn the game a little bit better. Let's see here. Question: what is your favorite game to play live? Ha! Wow. You know, I don't know that I don't know that I have a favorite per se game to play live. Maybe Wits and Wagers. No, not Wits and Wagers. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, I'm brain farting on the name of this game. It's the ones with the Title Recall. Yeah, Title Recall. I can't remember it, man. Oh my goodness, that's the. It's there. It's right there in the ether. I can't get it. I'm sorry, but it's the one where you're trying to get people to say certain name. Time's Up. That's it. That's it. There you go. Time's Up. Title Recall. That's probably my favorite game to play live. It's just really fun. And the team aspect is that we usually try to use whenever we play it on our live marathons is a really fun way to play it. So that's good. Let's see. Glad to see Dice Tower streaming on Twitch finally. Any plans on trying to get partnered with Twitch in the future? If more people try to start watching here, give us another avenue to support the channel. You know, that's something we're working towards. Again, this Twitch is like the undiscovered country for us right now. We're just starting to get into it. Derek has done a lot of research into how we could use it, and Kenny's been working with him that with Tom as well. So we're putting our best foot forward here, and we're gonna. It's kind of we know we need to do it, so we are. Let's see. No, Wigsby 13 is Derek Porter. That is our Derek Porter, yes. Thanks for chatting. I am indeed a she. There you go. Thank you. I apologize for originally assuming the other. Other thoughts. I am also a solo gamer without a game group. The live plays let me vicariously enjoy games that require multiple players to really work. Well, that's cool. And again, I'm not trying to shamelessly plug here, but I've got a contributor on Throw Punch Lunch that her entire segment always is about solo games and playing games in a solo fashion. So her name is Liz Davidson. BeyondSolitaire.net, I think, is her blog or webpage. So you can go check her out. She does a lot of cool stuff. She talks a lot about a lot of cool games that I would have, some of them I wouldn't have thought to play solo. So that's cool too. So hopefully that can be another thing there. Gloomhaven is fun solo. Well, Lunaku, I know Tom agrees with you, because it seems like he refuses to play Gloomhaven any other way than solo at this point. So that's it. All right, popping back over to our Excel spreadsheet. Let's collect some more things here and see where it goes. Sam needs to now paint the Rising Sun Minis live. No, Sam does not. Paint all the things? No. I have... I don't paint like the wind like Rob Oren does, and even Vernon's a pretty fast painter compared to me. I usually take a lot more time to do it than those other two guys. Rob is an amazingly fast painter. I cannot, and his stuff looks good when he's done with it. I mean, I could paint as fast as they do, but it wouldn't look nearly as good as these guys do. So yeah, I can't paint fast. I really don't. So I mean, even when we were doing that painting Q&A kind of thing a few days ago, he painted like 3 different models for GKR heavy hitters, and I painted, I think, 2 of the details on 2.5 of the models. So, and I wasn't even done with those 2.5 models. So I just do not paint fast. So yeah, I usually don't try to paint whole games. Where do you think life would be right now had Jenner met Tom? Mostly teaching still? You know what? That's kind of a difficult question to ask, because one of the reasons that I got into teaching right out of college was the fact that I knew Tom already, and where he was teaching in Korea, they needed more teachers at that point, and it just kind of lined up to where I graduated from college at just the time that they needed more teachers. So the possibility is that I may not have even gone into teaching had I not known Tom at that point. So that's interesting that you made that connection without really even knowing that you did. I think let's see. All right. So politics or religion are always topics that you need to be careful with. Okay, that is true, Kabuki. That is true. You do need to be careful with it. But that's what I'm saying. I think being careful with those topics is often, especially in face-to-face. Over the internet like this, no. This is not the way to talk about those kinds of things. But in a face-to-face session, when your sympathy, your empathy, your love of the human race can be seen in you can be heard in your voice, can be seen with your expressions and your body movements and that type of thing. That's the kind of place where you can have those kinds of conversations. And yes, be careful and be sensitive and all of that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I think that's the better route than just saying, nope, not going to do it. Barriers between philosophies need to come down so that we can talk about these things and commonly respect each other more than anything else. The boss just walked in. So now we have to be quiet. Stop. Shh. Just joking. I think he's just checking on some stuff. Let's see. Board Game Fangirl said people should not hide their worldviews. That's true. Debating someone while gaming is super unhelpful, but she agrees with me. That I had not read that entire thing. That's not the only reason I read that statement. But yeah, it's definitely not the best time is in the middle of a game. But at the same time, sometimes conversations should be had rather than just avoided. Helen says, I love live plays. I'm with solo gamers vicariously enjoying multiplayer games. This is especially true for campaign games that require multiple players to really work. Okay. Very good. Did I ever play Frostgrave or Gaslands? No. Okay. I did not. I'm sorry. Dice Odyssey. Hello, Kaz. How you doing? It's good to see you today, my friend. Good to see you too. See in quotations. How'd you like Batman? Do you know if you've answered that? Yes. Again, we've only played it. Well, I've played it. That was my third play of it, and all 3 of those plays have been with prototypes, so I didn't really have all of the nice flashy aesthetics and all that kind of stuff, and I was using The dice that we were using are not good dice, but I mean they're functional. But I like what they're going to be produced with a lot better. But I did enjoy the game. I probably enjoyed it slightly better than Conan, but it falls into the very same niche as Conan did because it largely uses the very same mechanics with some slight variation. It's wacky that there's never been a good proper IP game for Indiana Jones. Yeah, that's kind of true. The Adventurers kind of did that, but it wasn't that IP, but it still gave you that same feeling, I think. Let's see here. All right. All right. Well, let's go ahead and do lightning round. It has been an hour. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me switch back over to Twitch real quick just to see if there's any... learning to talk like adults helps. This is true. Let's see. All right, sorry. Number 1 solo, Dawn of the Zeds. Most people haven't even heard of that game. All right, there's another one. Let's see. Yeah. Favorite game to play with Jason? One that he isn't particularly good at, because that's my chance to beat him at something. But no, I mean he's fun to play games with anyway, more often than not, because he's good at them. So it's always a challenge. All right, let's go with lightning round, shall we? And this is just going to be from the YouTube feed. Not going to be taking any lightning questions from the Twitch feed, so I apologize for that. But let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to start collecting that. So request failed. No. Dismiss. All right, so we're going to, lightning round is where you ask me this or that, and I have to choose one of those things. And hopefully those things will be at some level different than the other thing. That's kind of the point. Bananas or beef? I do like bananas, especially when you have them on a peanut butter sandwich. But overall, beef wins. Last Jedi or Force Awakens? You know, I liked Last Jedi, and I guess I'm in the minority there, but I don't think so because it still made a ton of money. I really liked Last Jedi, and I didn't like one of the things that happened in Force Awakens. So I guess I'll let Last Jedi win. Imperials or Rebels or Scum? Usually I like playing the Rebels with X-Wing. Hellboy or Spawn? Hellboy. Dilly or Dally? How about both? Let's see here. Marvel Dice Masters or Marvel Legendary? I like Marvel Legendary better. Would you rather be a Jedi or a bounty hunter in the Star Wars universe? Definitely a Jedi. There's no question about that at all. Zombicide or Rising Sun? I'm probably going to be in the great minority here, but I'm going to say Zombicide. Black Plague especially. Let's see. Lightsaber or Flaming Sword? Lightsaber. Crushed Ice or Nugget Ice? I really like Crushed Ice. I wish more places had it. It melts a little bit easier, and I like that. Mal or Jane? It really depends on the situation. Being the captain of Serenity, Mal. On an away mission, Jane. Eldritch Horror versus Arkham Horror? Probably Eldritch Horror. Batman or Iron Man? Iron Man. Last Jedi or Empire Strikes Back? Ooh. I was actually one that didn't really... I think Empire Strikes Back is one of those movies that people think it's cool to think it's the best one. I don't think people thought that it was the best one from the beginning. It was good, don't get me wrong. But, and I think it's better than... the original trilogy is always going to be better than anything that else has come out, in my opinion. So, with that having been said, I guess my answer is Empire Strikes Back. Let's see, Bang the Dice Game or Blood Rage? Duh, Blood Rage. Daredevil versus Batman. I like Daredevil better. Ale or lager? Neither one. Dead Man's Doubloons or Jamaica? Ooh. I like Jamaica better for its simplicity, but Dead Man's Doubloons is also a fun game. Green Horde or Black Plague? Right now, I'm going to say Black Plague. I don't have nearly as much experience with Green Horde as I do with Black Plague. Star Wars, AT-AT or AT-AT? AT-AT. It's an AT-AT. Champions of Midgard or Raiders of the North Sea? Champions of Midgard. Somebody asked me that last week. Boba Fett or Jango Fett? Boba. Sagrada or Azul? Sagrada. Let's see here. Teen Titans or Young's Justice? Neither of them. I'm not into either of those. Sleep deprivation or food deprivation? Neither. Both of those seem like a bad thing. Clank or Viking Gone Wild? I would go with Clank in space. Imperial Assault or Star Wars Legion? Already asked that, and I answered that earlier. Zombicide, Black Plague or Rum and Bones? Depends on the group, but maybe Rum and Bones edges it out just slightly. Second Tide. Theme or mechanics? Mechanisms are good, but when theme is meshed well with mechanisms, that's the best. So I'll go with theme and mechanisms. Mage Knight versus Blood Rage? Blood Rage, by far. Let's see here. Harry Potter or Harry Dresden? I don't really have any investment in either of them, so neither of them. Ewoks or Porgs? Ewoks. Sweet tea or unsweet? Unsweet. Mixed with lemonade. That's Ginger or Mary Ann? Neither. Let's see. The Shack or Pilgrim's Progress? Don't know. Memoir 44 or The Great War? Memoir 44 I think is the better game, but I do enjoy Great War. Lovecraft or Poe? Didn't really enjoy either of those authors at all, actually. Vikings or Space Opera? Both of them. And no, not together, just separately. I don't want Vikings in space, but I like both of those equally. Bear or Wolf? And I'm wondering if you're talking about the clans in Blood Rage, and if that's the case, I'm going to go with Bear Clan. For Duty or Cathala? I'm going to say Cathala. Ketchup or Catsup? I'm going to go with Ketchup. Vikings or World War II? Ooh. Historical periods. I like both of them, really. And that's going to be that. That was about 10 minutes of lightning round. So we're going to go ahead and get this shut down. I do apologize for having to go away because I do enjoy talking with you guys, but I do need to go. So thanks for joining. I appreciate it. I hope that you guys have... I don't know why he's doing this. Is he hungry? Does he want something to drink? I don't get it. I know he did something strange yesterday on the end of his live stream, but I never do strange things at the end of my live stream. Okay, final question. No, I do not play solo games at all. Not that I would never do it, but I just haven't at this point. So, yeah, he was only here to bang spoons on a cup. Thanks for that. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. Kenny is here to shut down the Twitch. And I'm going to shut down the YouTube side of it, and we're going to do that in 3, 2, 1.